So I started reviewing on this channel because I wanted to give proper opinions about products and what I thought of them. That was one of my main motivations. But the problem is, if you're going to do this commercially, sooner or later, within a brand that you actually rate, you're going to come across a product of theirs that you don't. And that means that the hi-fi companies obviously aren't going to send you any more products. Now, you might think, well, you can just give those products back. But I've always thought that's a bit of a cop-out because you're not actually properly doing reviewing. The other thing is that it's incredibly hard to be sponsored by those brands at the same time keep it real. And you tended to find that, well, I did at least, you get really good vibes with a certain brand, you'd rate a lot of their products and they would sponsor you because your thinking was that genuinely that there wasn't much else to touch it. But then all of a sudden something comes along and it totally doesn't about on your opinions. A prime example for me was Hagel. I actually acquired the Hagel H390 after doing some reviews of Hagel products, and I own Cyrus audio gear and it just trumped the Cyrus gear by a significant margin and was cheaper, and the same with Name as well. But then cut to 2 or 3 years later, get some Chinese gear like the Kinky Studio EX M1 Plus that I reviewed, and it just trounces the Hagel even further. And just to say too, the H400 actually has the same amplifier boards as the H390. The H400 is the new model. Price has gone up, and that Kinky Studio EX M1 Plus that I reviewed is actually about half the price. Admittedly, it won't go down as low with harder to drive speakers, but that's not the be all and end all for an amplifier at that type of price that's going to drive predominantly quite a large number of speakers on the market. But you know what, even if I'm not doing videos to my high standards of creativity, I'd still do video reviews if I can give all my opinions of the product, because I buzz off of that journalistically. So giving opinions, warts and roses, if that's ever a new expression. Some people won't like that, some companies won't like that, but they obviously realise that's not how most reviewers review. So to do it that way is kind of my side of the bargain for doing reviews. Of course, if you do review that way, the brands aren't going to send you anything. But you know what? I've never really found it that honourable, valiant or respectable to make out products all fantastic as a means of promotion when there's no benchmarking going on and where it's implied they're good against everything else in order to do so for promotional purposes. I've always been very careful in my reviews that if I'm going to do that, I have something to compare it against which you know about. If I don't, then I'll qualify in the review like I did with my last one on the Alna S17 Pro Evo. I'll say I haven't tried it against other products, so you make your own mind up. And I think that if I did review that way, where I implied everything is fantastic against everything else, I'd find it as a means of trying to earn money quite soul destroying, really, because it's just like, well, it's just lying to people. Rather weirdly, I think this is actually like a Christmas tree farm. All of everything I've just said is why, if viewers gave me products to review against what I've reviewed already, or what I could review, or products that are out there in the market, giving my opinions on them against features and so on, I'd review them tomorrow because I could do so in a way that's credible and honest and meets with my own aims as to how I want to review. I know the channel Audio Science review in a way where the channel viewers loan products to Amir for him to review. But maybe this channel could survive if some of my viewers wanted to review your own gear, or gear that you try at home and that you can compare against, because certainly we'd be free of commercial constraints, and this would definitely be a motivation for me to want to review more. I don't think it has just a negative connotation to review that way, because for everything that you do rate, you're going to rate something less. So you're doing some people a favour, and it's positive appraisal of good products, but being faithful to a good review ethos and trying to review well, honestly, and being clear in doing a proper review. That's all I'm saying. I think also a case for, you know what, I'm just buzzing off this product that I want to recommend to other people and save other people money. So maybe you're testing a product out at home, you're at a friend's and you're doing the same, and you're doing a comparison. You're at a dealer and you're listening to different products and you want to give an opinion on it and your thoughts on it. You could do a video for this channel. It doesn't have to be a video in itself. It can be a script that you send me that I can put on YouTube as a video podcast with some shots. You can send me some simple shots of the product. It can be literally half an hour of your time to help other people out and to share reviews, user reviews, real reviews in a YouTube format that can be a go-to place on YouTube, if you like, to get trusted content of user opinions. Also, you don't necessarily have to exalt that the product is better than something else. A lot of the time it isn't, because remember, 60, 70, maybe 80% of all products that we try are similar, and it's only the ones now and again that stand out, and we're simply explaining what we really like about it, what stands out, what features are really good, is one of the main things about reviews. But also, you could just think it's way better than something else, and you may want to shout that from the rooftops. And however you're going to do it, just remember, you're going to be helping other people out, saving them money, which ultimately is the point of doing reviews and what reviews are. Reviews mean critical appraisal, obviously, if there's justification for criticism, not as an automatic right. I know that a lot of people do view YouTube as a means of entertainment, and they just want to tune in their lunch break and see what's hot, or just watch content because they're into hi-fi. But it does have there is a useful, purposeful intent of a review as well that is there to help people out, because let's not forget, some of this stuff in hi-fi is just ridiculously expensive for what it does, and there's a lot of products out there that, if the truth was told about what people really think about their performance, and you got 1,000 people in a room and you did a comparison of one that could be regarded as a very good amplifier against not such a good amplifier, those products just wouldn't sell. The prices would come down, and we wouldn't be spending or paying thousands of pounds on hi-fi products for all this gear that could be priced much lower. So proper reviews do have a useful place, and I do feel in hi-fi that it's gone way too far the other way, and it's an example slightly of a failed market where you've got all these niche reviewers doing reviews that are propping up inappropriate and poor performing products. Inappropriate, is that a good word? But you know what I mean. The other thing to say, and the last thing to say, is that if you wanted to present the video, then great, you can do that. If you don't want to be in it, or you want to be anonymous, you can be. As I say, send me the script and I'll put it to a podcast with some shots of your product. But however, as much you want to be involved, if you like, and if you want to try that approach. I did do a few with a guy called Robert, but then after that, nothing further sort of seemed to come of it. Yeah, however much you want to be involved and to help other people out, And you know, if you're gonna put stuff in the comments to say I really think this is a product that's for me and it really stood out and you're helping other people out, then do it to a further degree if you like, but a little bit more involved. It's exactly what I was doing on YouTube myself. And also, by the way, I'll do all the editing. You don't have to do any editing. The videos aren't going to be, the intention is not to make the videos of a really very high quality, but just simply to get content out that people can understand, that aids to their understanding of products and could help them with buying decisions around HiFi products. The motivation for me at the moment is not to give up, because I'm the sort of person that doesn't give up on things very easily, in fact sometimes to my detriment. But for the thousands, if not tens of thousands of hours that I put into this channel since 2019 when I started it, I don't really want it to stop. And hopefully if you've been on the same aims as me in watching this channel, then you won't want that to happen as well. And that's not some sort of ultimatum to you, but just the reality of the situation, if you like. One of the things that I've never really understood about the motivations for why people do HiFi reviews, other than myself, is if they're not going to review in a way where they get something out of it personally themselves that's very constructive and valiant, whether they're going to get some creative aspect out of it or some journalistic aspect out of it, what are they actually doing it for? Because let's face it, I like audio and I like HiFi, but there's 1,001 products out there that compete with 1,001 products, and to just get the next product coming along and for that in itself to be an enthusiastic means by which you continue the channel doesn't seem to make much sense to me. There has to be some higher motive in order to do it, and that's very much the reason as to why I've kept reviewing the creative side and the journalistic side. And yeah, to have something bigger than the audio itself, which I think if a lot of brands got that in HiFi, they would sell an awful lot more, because they do seem as if they are confined to selling, which unto itself is a dark force that restricts their growth, as opposed to the human creative reasons as to why we do this, which is something I've always tried to focus on in my reviews. Anyway, I hope people get on the journey that I want to take this channel on, and yeah, let's see how it goes.